Episode 10, Blindness with Our Eyes Wide Open. In today's episode, we discuss finding the courage to more fully examine the cost of porn in our lives, including things that we didn't realize that we were missing out on. Being aware of these hidden benefits of quitting porn increases our motivation to quit. Hello there. I'm Stephen McConnell. I'm a life coach. I'm a Christian. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But no matter who you are, I hope this podcast helps you in your struggle with quitting porn, helps you to better manage your sexual desire, and helps you believe again in a future that will be bright for you. I remember a story told in church once about a father who took a vacation with his young son to the beach. He sat down to enjoy a beautiful sunset with the waves breaking on the shore. He asked the boy, "What colors do you see?" "Brown," replied the boy. The father looked over to notice that his son was holding up a sand dollar close to his face, studying it intently, but obscuring everything else from view. Sometimes we are like that boy. We get so fixated on some particular detail that we miss all the rest of what's happening in the world around us, and the beauty in the world all around us. For those listening to this podcast, porn is the sand dollar that has captured our attention. Sometimes we begin to recognize just how much of our time and attention porn consumes when we miss appointments or fail to follow through on our commitment to someone. But often, what isn't immediately obvious is just how different our lives could be if we more regularly and intentionally looked away from the sand dollar and started rediscovering our lives. If we began genuinely asking ourselves, what all have we been ignoring? What are we missing out on in our lives now because of this all-consuming habit? What did we willingly or unwittingly blind ourselves to when we opened the door wider to porn? Did we stop paying attention to people in our lives that miss us now? Did we take a step away from our faith? Were there some lessons our mama taught us that we had to harden our heart against in order to fully open up that door to porn? What did we turn our backs on? Who did we turn our backs on? Was it our family, our employer, our God, even ourselves? These may sound like really hard questions to ask ourselves, but they are only difficult questions if we think we have to be mean to ourselves if we don't like our honest answer. I've heard it said that indulging in porn robs us of a sense of the true beauties in life. From the point of view of someone who tries to understand the human brain, that idea about being robbed of true beauty actually makes a lot of sense. You see, when we are constantly searching for a beauty that derives more from fantasy than our actual genuine experience of the world, then we can never appreciate what is all around us because it will never be good enough. No woman will ever be pretty enough, no man handsome enough, no smiling face or even words of praise that we receive are sufficient to lift our spirits, at least not for very long. No one will cater to us in the way that we imagine that we would like or deserve. To make matters worse, anything that isn't sexual easily becomes dull and boring. This inability to continue seeing and appreciating the good in the world all around us is what I'm referring to as blindness with our eyes wide open. The laughter of a child, the companionship of a friend, the smell of a rose, the song of little birds in the morning, or even a kind gesture like someone holding the door open. All of these things we miss as our thoughts constantly drift off to a make-believe world that we desperately hope will somehow make us feel better than the world presently in front of us. I'd like you to think of desire as something that we can only have a finite quantity of in our lives. We can only have so much desire before it essentially gets used up, and then we stop caring in any sort of meaningful way about everything else. By overfeeding our sexual desire, we train our brain to increasingly focus on that, to spend all our desire on that, which automatically reduces the desire left over for all the other areas of our lives, like the desire to do well at work, or school, or in our relationships, or hobbies, and even self-care. All of those things begin to take a back row seat. They just can't compete with our over-desire for the concentrated pleasure of porn and fantasizing about sex. So the question becomes, how are we going to turn that around? To refocus our attention on essential parts of life that we've been ignoring, to rebalance our desires, and to fix things that seem broken. To some of you, that may seem like an overwhelming question, even though you know that's what you really want. Well, let me suggest that the answer is probably not doing everything all at once, but more like refocusing on one aspect of our lives at a time, one important task at a time, starting with the things that we believe deserve our attention the most. And the best news is that even though finding your ideal balance in life may take years, quitting porn doesn't have to. You could quit porn today if you really wanted to. The trouble is that when we allow ourselves to develop an over-desire for porn, and then we abruptly quit, we tend to get into an intense battle with ourselves over what we really want. The higher brain wants to quit porn, but the primitive brain still just can't get enough. And if we don't have the skills to manage our brain during the abrupt period of quitting, we will fail. Why? Because porn gave us a cheat code, both a convenient path to pleasure and often a false sense of connecting with the person sharing the images or video. It may have felt thrilling at times, but what was the cost? Not only everything that we stopped giving our attention to when we started viewing porn, but also we became mentally and emotionally weaker. We became dependent on something external to us to dull our senses to all of the negative emotions that we harbor about life, even though porn was and is an extremely temporary emotional fix. So the question becomes, what will we see when we take the blinders off? When we willfully and intentionally put porn down and start facing up to all the rest of life that we've been ignoring, what will we notice? Chances are we will begin to find a lot of problems in the real, unfiltered world. Things we neglected, things that we never started, things we wanted to forget about when we started hiding in porn in the first place. And so it takes a lot of courage to intentionally cast off the blinders, to try to see and appreciate things and people as they really are. But you will never see the level of transformation that you want to see in your life until you open up to the genuine, raw experience of life without hiding and without turning away. Why? Because seeing things the way they really are is information. It's enlightening, it's life-changing, and sometimes it's even scary. That's why our courage has to be grounded by the knowledge that all of that negativity we will begin to experience when we try to quit porn can't actually hurt us. Did you know that? Quitting porn cannot hurt you. No matter how much the primitive brain wants you to believe that's true, it's a lie. Setting pleasure down doesn't automatically cause pain. What causes pain is our own negative thinking about the world. And that won't go away until we allow ourselves to see life the way that it really is. And we learn to be grateful for the way that life really is, not just some pretend version of it. We can't have all the beautiful, wonderful, glorious parts of life without some pain and bitterness and sadness. How can we even comprehend what happiness is without comparing it to something that we believe is the opposite of that? So it makes sense that the ideal life is actually a mixed experience. a balance of positive and negative. We can't actually have the full experience of life, so many wonderful, unique experiences, and be mentally present for those experiences if we are constantly running away from it all and hiding in a virtual world. So when we begin to turn away from porn, we will notice some good things that we've missed, but we will also begin to notice problems. Specific examples might be some part of our house or yard that really needs our attention. Our physical health. Maybe a visit to the doctor and some blood work will reveal that we haven't been taking care of ourselves in the best way. Maybe we smell. We need to brush our teeth or shower more often. Maybe the people that we stopped connecting with when we started losing ourselves in porn have moved on, and they aren't as willing to reconnect with us as we hoped. So maybe connection with other people will take more work than we thought, but maybe it will take less work than we thought. We don't know. The point is, we will never know until we stop thinking about porn all the time and start paying attention. Wake up and smell the roses. It reminds me of a song by Natasha Bedingfield. Maybe some of you know it. It's hard for me to just read these lyrics. I just automatically want to start singing it. Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten. Such a good message. No one can live your life for you. And you only have one life. Do you really want to not even be mentally present for it? Of course not. So what relationships need our attention? What beautiful things in the world do we need to make time to see? What work have we been neglecting? Do we need to recommit to our spiritual well-being? Let me give you a quick tip. It's a lot easier to do all of the above when we don't beat ourselves up about everything we believe we've done wrong. When we begin to step away from porn and we notice all of the consequences it has caused in our lives, intentionally choosing to be kind to ourselves and to grant ourselves grace for being human, that will make it a lot easier to not want to run back to porn and hide. Now, when we try to make amends with other people, they may not be so kind or forgiving, but how can we have any hope that they will be kind if we can't even be kind to ourselves? Just something to think about. Okay, my friends, please find the courage to cast off the blinders, to face up to things in your life as they really are, and have the humility to appreciate the goodness that still exists in other people and in yourselves, despite whatever shortcomings you may notice. All right, my friends, have a great weekend. Thank you for joining me in the episode today. For those interested in one-on-one help, claim your free consultation with me at GratefulLifeCoaching.com. That's GratefulLifeCoaching.com.